Jeff Bezos, owner of Amazon, is a hypocritical wanker. And in other news, a rare tiger dies in a London zoo. I'm Johnny Massacre, and you're witnessing the Johnny Massacre Show. Surprise, motherfucker, guess who's back? So Jeff Bezos is the guy who owns Amazon, and he's been complaining recently because there's a magazine or a newspaper, whatever the fuck it is, it's called the National Enquirer, and apparently they've got nude photos of Bezos, owner of Amazon, and they're threatening him and blackmailing him over the photos. So Jeff Bezos obviously knew he was fucked, so he came out with a carefully worded statement, obviously written by his lawyers, defending himself. And I just want to read this because it's really fucking funny. Why am I going to read this? Because Amazon is kind of a left-wing liberal company with liberal values, and in this article, the guy talks about how virtuous he is, and how much of a good person he is, when he's actually a total hypocrite, and he's just as bad as the National Enquirer, who are supposedly blackmailing him. So let's have a look at this, right? This is actually written by the president of Amazon himself. It's amazing stuff. Can you fucking believe this? Here it is. So let's read what Bezos has to say. No, thank you, Mr. Pecker. Something unusual happened to me yesterday. Actually, for me, it wasn't just unusual. It was a first. Okay, so this guy sounds well up his ass. I mean, he is a billionaire, but hey, something kind of strange happened yesterday. It wasn't actually just unusual. It was a first. It's really melodramatic and cringy already, so you know this guy's going to be a bit of a twat. He continues, I was made an offer I couldn't refuse. Oh, referencing The Godfather, are we? How witty. I'm really on your side now, Bezos, you tosser. Or at least that's what the top people at the National Enquirer thought. I'm glad they thought that because it emboldened them to put it all in writing. So he's very pugnacious here. He's already attacking the National Enquirer. He's basically kind of mocking them a little bit, mocking their decision to blackmail him because it's in writing, and that means he can basically take them to court or whatnot. Rather than capitulate to extortion and blackmail. Shut the fuck up, Jeff. What are you talking about? You're a billionaire, philanthropist, owner of Amazon. You're basically the richest dude in the fucking universe right now. And you are fucking... You're full of shit, mate. Extortion and blackmail. You've been sending dick pics out, mate. You've been sending dick pics out. How about fucking sorry? How about this? I'm sorry I sent nude photos out. It was wrong. How about that? No. You're the victim, are you? The victim of extortion and blackmail. You took a picture of your knob, you tosser. Seriously, Jeff. Idiot. He said, I've decided to publish exactly what they sent me, despite the personal cost and embarrassment they threatened. Oh, poor you, Mr. fucking Bezos. The personal cost and embarrassment of you getting your tiny cock out. You're the embarrassment. Playing the victim. He continues, AMI, the owner of the National Enquirer, led by David Pecker, recently entered into an immunity deal with the Department of Justice related to their role in the so-called catch and kill process on behalf of President Trump and his election campaign. So what does that mean? Apparently, Trump paid off the National Enquirer not to run a story about him banging some playmate. So Jeff Bezos is saying that discredits the National Enquirer totally, and therefore that somehow absolves him of the responsibility of sending out pictures of his cock. Look, Trump, he bangs birds. We all know Trumpy likes banging the birds, right? It's not really a big fucking deal. Bill Clinton, on the other side, on your side, Jeff, on the left, he was fucking someone in his fucking office, which is way worse than Trump. So you're trying to smear the National Enquirer. When you send out dick pics, it's all your fault. As I said, all you had to do was apologise, but you didn't. He continues, Mr. Pecker and his company have also been investigated for various actions they've taken on behalf of the Saudi government. This guy has massive, massive liberal ties, and all liberals do is spend all day apologising for Muslims who have brought a lot of very bad culture to the West. They hate gay people and they are intolerant of other people. and they're intolerant of other religions completely. And the left loves defending them, the left being Mr. Bezos, owner of Amazon. But then when it suits him, he's not on the side of the Muslims, and he's like, fuck the Muslims, because the National Enquirer have actually exposed me for being a wanker and sending out my nude pictures. And therefore, I'm suddenly going to say the Muslims are bad, the Saudis are bad, because the National Enquirer is linked with the Muslims. Very selective, Bezos. You're still a wanker. He continues, and sometimes Mr. Pecker mixes it all together. Quote, after Mr. Trump became president, he rewarded Mr. Pecker's loyalty with a White House dinner to which the media executive brought a guest with important ties to the royals in Saudi Arabia. At the time, Mr. Pecker was pursuing business there while also hunting for financing for acquisitions. Oh my God. So the rich owner of the National Enquirer is hobnobbing and having some business meetings looking for financing. Exactly what Jeff spends all of his fucking time doing. And he did it with Trump. Oh my God. Because if you associate with Trump, that means by default you're an arsehole. According to left-wing media, according to the newspaper called the Washington Post that Jeff Bezos fucking owns. So Jeff Bezos is trying to write this narrative of Trump being a bad person, and now he's trying to say to everyone, look, now that we've established Trump as the enemy, these people who are going to release my nude pictures, they've had dinner with Trump. Oh my God. So that means it doesn't matter that I got my cock out. Grow up, you tosser. He continues, federal investigators and legitimate media have of course suspected and proved that Mr. Pecker has used the Enquirer and AMI for political reasons, and yet AMI keeps claiming otherwise. American media emphatically rejects any assertion that its reporting was instigated, dictated or influenced in any manner by external forces, political or otherwise. Even if, Jeff, you're right, if the National Enquirer are a bit dirty, a bit sleazy, and they kind of lie, how does that absolve you from any blame, from getting your dick out as the owner of fucking Amazon, setting a bad example for your whole company? Just say sorry. Of course, legitimate media have been challenging that assertion for a long time, that the National Enquirer are actually not biased. Legitimate media. What the fuck even is legitimate media? There is no such thing as legitimate media, apart from people like me on YouTube and a few other kind of right-leaning commentators, comedians and thinkers. Legitimate media might... like the fact that he's even talking about legitimate media means he discredits his whole fucking article. He continues, I didn't know much about most of that a few weeks ago when intimate text messages from me were published in the National Enquirer. I engaged investigators to learn how those texts were obtained and to determine the motives for the many unusual actions taken by the Enquirer. Yeah, unusual actions, like you getting your cock out! As it turns out, there are now several independent investigations looking into this matter. To lead my investigation, I retained Gavin de Becker, which rhymes with Pecker, your nemesis. Becker and Pecker, going at it, people. I've known Mr. de Becker for 20 years. His expertise in this arena is excellent, and he's one of the smartest and most capable leaders I know. I asked him to prioritise protecting my time, since I have other things I prefer to work on, and to proceed with whatever budget he needed to pursue the facts in this matter. Fucking Bezos getting his wallet out and his cock, getting his wallet out on top of his cock. He's minted. He's got private investigators. He's got fucking James Bond on the case. These are kind of thinly veiled threats. Cowardly. Then he says, here's a piece of context. My ownership of the Washington Post is a complexifier for me. Complexifier? Who uses that stupid word? Just because you use a big word doesn't make you clever, Jeff. It's unavoidable that certain people who experience Washington Post news coverage will wrongly conclude I'm their enemy. So just because I own this legitimate, righteous, morally sound newspaper means everyone else is out to get me. No, you sent fucking dick pics out, you knob. It's no one else's fault. Just because you've got a shitty left-wing lying newspaper doesn't absolve you from any of this shit, you tosser. And the funny thing is, it's not even a big deal. He got his dick out. Who cares? He's making it into a big deal. He says, President Trump is one of those people, obvious by his many tweets. Also, the Post's essential and unrelenting coverage of the murder of its columnist Jamal Khashoggi is undoubtedly unpopular in certain circles. You got your cock out, and now you are blaming that on other people, and you're saying the reason you ended up getting your cock out is because you've been victimized by all your enemies who hate you because you own a newspaper who said something bad about a Turkish Muslim journalist who was killed by the Saudis for speaking his mind. And you're also saying that Trump and a large portion of your enemies don't like that because Probably they're in the pockets of the Saudis and are doing lucrative arms deals with them. So basically, Jeff Bezos, good guy. Anyone who hates him, it's just because he has a good newspaper, Washington Post, and he covered a Saudi, a Muslim journalist who got killed by the Saudis when America supposedly loves the Saudis, or some of America loves the Saudis because of an arms deal. When really, you just got your knob out and it's your fucking fault. And the fact you have a shitty newspaper doesn't mean anything at all. People are not targeting you because of that. It's because you got your cock out. So finally, he says, even though the Post is a complexifier for me, I do not at all regret my investment. The Washington Post is a critical institution with a critical mission. My stewardship of the Post and my support of its mission, which will remain unswerving, is something I'll be most proud of when I'm 90 and reviewing my life, if I'm lucky enough to live that long, regardless of any complexities it creates for me. Complexities, complexifiers. No, Jeff, this is so badly written. When you're 90, this guy is a complete narcissist. When I'm 90, when I'm this old, I'm going to live forever, hopefully. What are you talking about, Jeff? You got your knob out. All you have to do is say sorry, for fuck's sake. The Post is a critical institution. This shitty left-wing newspaper is a critical institution, and you are the bearer of justice and morals in the West. Jeff Bezos, you're fucked, mate. You just made yourself look like an absolute tosser, and you just alienated yourself more to half of the world's population. It's like Hillary calling anyone who doesn't vote for her deplorables, and so they voted for Trump. Now it's you saying basically half of the world, anyone who's a conservative who aligns with Trump, is a tosser. When you just got your knob out and you've created loads of controversy and making all this fuss. So Jeff Bezos from Amazon is an absolute wanker. In other news, tiger-related news, rare Sumatran tiger killed by a potential mate at London Zoo. Just a brief one. So a female Sumatran tiger at the zoo has been killed by her new mate on the introduction. Melati 10 was mauled to death by Azim 7 when keepers allowed the pair to meet for the first time. They had shown obvious positive signs when they were kept in adjoining enclosures within each other's sight for the previous 10 days, a spokesman said for the zoo. However, now staff are devastated and heartbroken by this tragic turn of events. As with all big cats, quote, introductions, however carefully planned, are always considered to be high risk, the zoo said. This morning, the two tigers were in separate paddocks and the adjoining door was open to allow them to meet. Azim approached Melati and, as expected by the keepers, the two tigers were initially cautious. Their introduction began as predicted, but quickly escalated into a more aggressive interaction. Zoo staff immediately implemented their prepared response, including using loud noises, flares and alarms to try and distract the pair, but Azim had already overpowered Melati. Zookeepers were eventually able to secure Azim in a separate paddock so that they could safely get to Melati, where our vets confirmed that she had sadly died. So this other tiger, brought in to shag the other one, fucking went and killed it. Nature can be so cruel. Alright, that's enough chit chat about the world. Let's talk about my life. Holy shit, I think it just froze. Sorry about that. Hopefully everything's alright. So look, I've got to be quick because I'm fucking off in a minute. I'm fucking off to go and do some shit. But I just thought I'd show you something. Maybe we'll do a cheeky little unboxing because people who follow my show, they know I'm a music producer and also I'm a mastering engineer now. I master my music and I've got a very cool new piece of gear. What do I have for you? First up, we got this. So this is by API, a company called API. This is known as a lunchbox. It's heavy as fuck. It's a powered unit where you can plug in various rack units of equipment, and it's good because it saves space and it's very portable. This is an equalizer. This EQ is very famous. I'm super happy to use it. Very excited to use it. I've always wanted to use it. And this is an API compressor, so this is going to sound wicked. So I will bring this to you on a later show, shall I? That's pretty exciting shit. Now, the other exciting thing... Fucking hell, mate. Ah! Jesus. The other exciting thing is I've got a very special piece of equipment here, which is famous in mastering studios all around the world, and it's an equalizer, it's an EQ. Now what makes this one special is apparently it's very, very clean. So a lot of EQs you buy that are expensive have a lot of character, a lot of personality. And while that is good for a lot of projects, because you want to give it a little polish, you want to give it a little sparkle, you want to give it a little sweetness, sometimes you do not want to colour the sound too much. Because if you do that, well, sometimes you've got to be transparent, you know, you want to make subtle changes. You want to do subtle things. So, my equaliser is savage. This motherfucker here, it's the greatest piece of equipment ever, pretty much. I absolutely, fucking hell, I absolutely love it. But there are times when I just want to process the sound subtly. And that's why I've got this fucking, this savage beast here. So I'm just going to let you in, fuck me, and show you what it looks like. Maybe you've seen it before in a few studios. Here we go, people. Woo! It is cool. It's by Massacre, and it's the MEA2 Precision Equalizer. Oh! There it is. My new baby. Woo! Going red here. Fuck me. So, fully step controls, total recall, great for the mastering engineer, and total precision. So I'm totally looking forward to that. Okay, I've got to go. I've got a meeting. So it's good to see you again. As I said, surprise motherfuckers. I told you I'd be back, and I'll probably see you next week. Cheers.